commercial construction coffee talk fans. Thanks for chiming in. I'm David Corson. I'm your host. I'm also the publisher and editor of Commercial Construction and Renovation magazine. We help brands design, build, and maintain their facilities. That's our editorial target. Thanks for finding us on the web. Hope everybody had a great weekend. It's fall season, a little chilly at night, walking the dogs in the morning. It's nice, it's starting to cool down. Football's playing. Bulldogs start next week. Playing Arkansas on the road. COVID's kind of, sliding down, looking good here in the South. So can't complain. Got my house up on the market. Had 5 showings this last weekend. What do these people do when they go in your house? I think they're trying my underwear on. I don't know what they're doing. They go in there for an hour. What are they looking at? Bedroom, carpet, garage, yard. I don't know. I got to put a camera in there. I want to know what they're looking at. It's a house. You want to buy it? Buy it. Anyway, so that's my weekend. Selling the house, so working hard, trying to waiting for the leaves to fall off, and then I'll wrestle, put them in the bags and all that good stuff. So, but it was really hot this summer, so I'm really glad that the fall temperature is coming in. The humidity's kind of going down in the South. End of September, October, beginning of November, it's beautiful down here. Especially, I'm a motorcycle guy, so it's great to ride. I always like riding in the fall or in the spring. Summer, winter a little too cold, summer way too hot. Full face, pants, not worth it. But right now, beautiful time. And the leaves are going to start turning here soon. So there's a place called Helen, Georgia. The ride up there is awesome. Asheville's only about 2 or 3 hours up. Great ride. So anyway, got a really, really cool episode tonight. Never had a logistics company on Commercial Construction Coffee Talk. So we have a gentleman, his name is Mr. Steve Puhl. He's the Director of Business Development with Andrews. They're a national logistics company. They help you get stuff to and from wherever you need it shipped and on time and on budget so you can get your stores open or hotels or whatever you need that you're working on. So Steve, say hello to our Commercial Construction Coffee Talk listeners out there.
Hello, everybody.
And we're talking to you from Ohio, correct?
Yep, just outside Youngstown, Ohio.
There you go. So you're on the eastern side of the great state of Ohio. And the way that we work it, Steve, we start out, you have to tell your story. Don't leave any skeletons out of your closet. We want to know everything. We want to know where you grew up. If you have brothers and sisters, you can tell us what your parents did, and where you went to school. Your jobs, how you ended up where you are today, and then we'll go from there. So the floor is yours. Tell us the Steve Puhl saga.
Hey, David, thanks for having me on too, by the way. So
hey, you're welcome.
All right. So born and raised in Western Pennsylvania. I come from a blue-collar town. Father worked in the steel mills until he got laid off in the early 80s. Come from a rather large family, 5 sisters, first cousins. I have somewhere around 57 of them.
You're the only boy?
I'm the only boy.
Oh, wow. 5 sisters.
Right.
Right. Wow.
Even my dog was a female growing up. So
nice.
So now I have 2 daughters. I knew a boy just wasn't in the mix. So 2 daughters. Went to school at Slippery Rock University, and that is a real place.
Oh yeah.
Just in case you didn't believe me. Finished. Got myself through school by working in the steel mills. And I don't know if you've ever been in a steel mill next to a hot ingot, but it is pretty hot there. It's so hot you can't even sweat. You can't touch anything, or you'll burn yourself. You got to get in and get out as quickly as possible.
Actually, I'm from outside Philadelphia, a place called Pottstown, and on my mother's side, our family is in steel recycling. So Bethlehem Steel had their plant right next to ours. So when all the grandsons got their driver's license at 16 in Pennsylvania, everybody had to work in the scrapyard. And so Bethlehem Steel was still in operation at those days. So totally familiar with the steel mill, you know?
Yeah, so it's so dirty there. Like it looked like it was snowing dirt
Yeah.
from the ceiling. Like you would have to wear something over your face all the time. So I guess that's kind of like why this COVID thing doesn't bother me. Wearing a mask, you kind of got used to it. So,
Oh,
um,
yeah.
hey, believe
What?
it or not, I've been in Pottstown once or twice. So
Hey, one summer I was shoveling asbestos. We were in demolition. We were knocking down these big tanks off of I-95 in Philadelphia, and I had to have the white suit on and the mask, and we're knocking off this asbestos off the pipes. And this crew came in, and and they're not wearing their mask. I'm like, guys, man, you guys aren't wearing those masks. And it was about 110 degrees inside this building, you know. And they're like, oh man, we don't wear those masks. And then went their lung. And I'm like, I'm keeping my mask on, man. I don't care how much I sweat. I'm keeping it on, you know. So wearing the
well,
mask, I just laughed because I wore it, you know.
yeah, I had to one of the departments I worked in. We went around and cleaned out the air conditioning units, which basically meant they took the college help and they would have us go underneath these units and you'd scrape it with a brush and the stuff would just fall right on your face. And when you'd pull off your mask, you would have, this would be clean and then everything else was just full of garbage.
I have another
And
good steel story. When I was in the scrapyard, you know, you cut up all the steel into little pieces, and then the overhead crane would come pick it up, throw it in the truck. Anyway, uh, the steel would, you know, you're using the acetylene torch, the steel, the sparks, pieces of little metal would come up and they would fall down your gloves
yeah,
and they burn the hell out of your hands. And I mean, until I got good at it, but oh my God, every weekend I go down to the beach in Atlantic City and people are like, oh my God, what happened to your hands? I'm like, oh man, I'm burning steel, man. And it gets down to your gloves and it's like having hard, charcoal bits on your hands and blisters and then I got good at it and I didn't even wear the gloves because it hits your skin and it bounces off because it's wet, you know,
right.
but in the beginning I'm wearing the gloves, you know, and all the other guys, they've been there forever and they're not wearing their gloves. And so I get the steel gig for sure.
But with that being said, I mean, working in the steel mill, it actually helped me get through college because I'm like, man, I can't do that. I mean, I respect the people that could do that for 30, 40 years. I couldn't do it. Like
Yeah.
it was a tough job. So
Yeah.
I'm like, well, you know what? I better hit the books, stay in school, stay out of the parties, and finish
So what did
school
you
and
go to
everything.
school for? What was your degree?
Marketing and management.
Okay.
So business degree, generic because I really wasn't sure what I wanted to do. So my last year of school, I went through like 30 interviews and accidentally ended up in logistics. So I started with Yellow as a billing clerk up in Erie, Pennsylvania, which I don't know if you know anything about Erie, but they get a
Oh
lot
no,
of
yeah.
snow.
Listen,
Yeah,
Pennsylvania, I got
yeah,
you.
they get a lot of snow. They measure their snow in feet.
Yeah.
So hey, we got 2 feet of snow, we got 3 feet of snow, and they get it. So I made a I made a pact with myself that after being there for one winter, I was going to be out by the next winter. I couldn't do it 2 years. So from Erie as a billing clerk, I went to Cleveland as a dispatcher for Yellow, and then from there I went to Du Bois, Pennsylvania. Then I went back to Cleveland. So I kind of did all this, bouncing around back and forth. Got into sales, and then that's when I started to really, enjoy the logistics part. Like doing the operations is tough work, but
Mm-hmm.
then jumping over to the sales where you're actually meeting with customers and you're finding out like what their problems are and then what you could possibly do to bring different types of solutions to them. So I was over at Yellow for 15 years and ended up working my way to where I had a sales territory that took me from Detroit, Michigan, all the way out to Washington, D.C., up through Canada. So I got really specialized in some of the expedited projects and just doing something that's a little bit different than just common carrier type shipping.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, then I ran into somebody at Andrews, which Andrews is it's just a small local Cleveland company, but they're tied into the United Van Lines network. So it kind of gave you the ability to do both. You work for a small company, but you also had a network that that takes you basically all over the country, Canada. We even have international presence as well. Um, but from there, we kind of took we kind of took shipping to like a whole nother level. So if, and the best way that I could describe it, I call it, we do the not normal shipping. So if you had a truckload of material, they need to go from point A to point B, there's a dock on both sides, we could do that stuff, but that's not what we're good at. And we'll probably charge you a lot more for it than what somebody else would.
Mm-hmm.
Where we get involved is, hey, I need to ship all this material into a certain location. I need you to hold it, consolidate it, maybe pick and pack some pieces, deliver these pieces out to a job site at this time, or, maybe take a few things apart and assemble it, so basically you define what you're looking for from us. So
Sure.
that's what attracted me over to Andrews. Andrews has also been around for, I think we're celebrating our 112th year this year. So
Nice.
we go all the way, like we have pictures where you go back in our history and it goes all the way back to horse and buggy.
Sure.
So it's a pretty interesting, history when you look at it. But it's,
my family's business, they've been in business since 1888.
Wow.
So I can totally anybody that's over 100 years old.
You're right.
I mean, that's a very special thing, and you can go back and 100 years ago, the world was a much different place.
Right. Maybe a little bit easier. I don't know.
Yeah.
Especially without all the social media. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. No air conditioning either.
Yeah, but I think what it does, if you've been around for 100+ years, you have to redefine yourself, many times over, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we started off as a moving company, and I mean we're still a moving company. I mean that's part of what Andrews is. We're part of the United Van Line network, so a third of what we do is moving people from one part of the country to the next. So when you sell your house, let us know. We'll help you.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, I'm hoping I'm going to sell everything, and I just want to live a simple life, and then start fresh. I just it. I have ties. I have forever, and but
that being said, when it comes to moving people, I'll have you talk to somebody else. I don't.
Okay. I don't, you got a deal.
Yeah, I do other things. So, but we got into moving store fixtures, doing construction displays back in the early 90s. And then from that point, we took off with just dealing with basically all the main brands and different types of, projects.
So, the year started out, obviously you came to my summit and, you got a couple of projects out of it, which is a positive. And after leaving there, the virus was just coming in, but people really didn't know what the heck was going on. The cranes in all the cities, everything's booming. I thought it was gonna be the greatest year in the world. Middle of March, Tom Hanks gets the bug, and then everything gets canceled, and then boom, everything just shuts down. And people are trying to figure out, okay, how long is it going to last? Now it's September, the bug's still with us. And so how did your company, deal with the pandemic hitting, the last 3 or 4 months, and now we're kind of starting reopening? How did all that affect, or not affect, but how did you operate?
Well, I mean, and I'm going to say it was probably the same for a lot of the companies out there. Like the first couple weeks, you're just on pause trying to figure things out.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the projects that we were scheduled to do, they were getting paused or canceled or postponed. But at the same time, we were also taking our entire office and moving them back, moving into working at home office.
Mm-hmm.
And that took a while to get everybody set up and running, like to where they were smooth, answering the phone. So in a way, the little pause helped us out. And then after that little pause, we got involved with so many different projects. And this is kind of like the Andrews way of like reinventing ourselves. But we got into moving hospitals, setting up temporary COVID clinics. Like we got involved with one project where we helped put another 1,000 beds, for a hospital up in the Cleveland area.
Mhm.
So we got involved in in those type of projects. And then there were a lot of companies that were putting in sneeze guards, and we got involved with getting the distribution, setting up warehouses. So we would get phone calls that they have, 20 locations that they need to ship these plexiglass to, and we would just start shipping them. And then the next morning there'd be 10 installers at 20 different warehouses picking these things up, installing all over that city. So we did that for a good solid 2-3 months.
Mhm.
And that kind of helped just keep everybody busy enough to um, you know keep busy enough to keep the company going. And now the projects are starting to kick back in, activity's starting to pick back
Are
up.
people still working out of their house? Or are they back in the office?
uh so today was actually the first, when I talked to you earlier today was the first day that I've been in the office since February. So we have a couple people that are in the office. Our warehouse, is still 100% functional, but for the most part, everybody else is still working out of their home.
Are they going to stay at home, or are they going to go back to the office?
Um, I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be. Some will come back to the office, and then some will stay at home. One of the things that we're afraid of is if we bring everybody back into the office, and then it kicks back up, and then we got to send everybody back home.
Mhm.
We're going to lose 2 weeks, a week to set them back up, and then a week to set them back up at home. So
Right.
right now, everybody's functioning very efficient. So we don't want to change anything until we're 100% sure that that it's going to be good to go back into the
A lot
office.
of companies have realized that they don't have to have their employees at their office. That they've come to realize that, hey, they're happier at home. They don't have to go through rush hour traffic. They don't have to burn gas. They're getting things done. Meetings don't take as long. You can do your Zoom calls. You can get stuff done. And the COVID thing. There's a silver lining on a lot of stuff. A lot of people don't realize they don't need to have these huge leases and these huge office spaces where they can get stuff done and still be productive. You don't know how many contractors, engineers, brands, vendors that I've talked to where, they thought that they all had to go back to the office, and now they don't have that, water cooler gossip going on, that they still have their company culture because they'll get together on the Zoom maybe once a week, have a happy hour or whatever. But
Right.
people are probably even more productive than they were pre-COVID. And that, you want to be social, but a lot of people are going to work out of their house. I've been working on my house forever, so it didn't affect me. I've been hunkered down, but a lot of the people that I've had on, that I've talked on the phone or had on the podcast or that we speak with, they've all said that, technology's been great, and that you can still stay connected, and you can be safe. And, having a cell phone number was platinum in my book,
Right. Hmm.
or a LinkedIn, or a personal email address if you wanted to stay in contact with your clients. But a lot of them are going to stay. It's going to change. Commercial real estate, they're going to have to reinvent themselves, just like everybody did.
Right.
And
Right.
so,
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny you say it, because like one of the guys that was in the office today, I asked him, because he's been there the whole time. He's one of the people that has to handle the paperwork and everything else. And I asked him, I said, "Well, how's it been with nobody being here?" And he's like, "It's a lot more efficient," because
yeah,
he worked in one of the hallways. So everybody that would go out to the warehouse would have to stop and talk to him.
hey,
Right. He got nothing done.
hey,
Now that nobody's in the office, he's like, I can't believe how much I'm getting done right now.
oh yeah,
So,
oh yeah,
so yeah, and like you, David, I've worked from my home office or the road, the hotel, the airport. I mean, I've done it for like, the last 15, 20 years. So I'm used to it. It's getting everybody else used to it.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
But I would say for me personally, the biggest struggle I had was not me working from home, but when, my wife was trying to teach from home and the kids coming to learn,
Hmm.
doing their school from home. I mean, I felt like that I became the IT department, like every time the computer wasn't working, the internet was slow or whatever. So now that they're back in school, like everything's starting to, for
Mm.
me, everything's starting to feel like it's getting back to a little bit more of a routine.
So now that states are kind of opening up, is businesses coming back? Are you bullish? Are you bearish? As far as what's going to happen, or
I'm bullish. I mean, I'm an optimist to begin with. So, I think, I don't think things are ever going to return to normal, but I think when things like this happen, it just creates different opportunities. Um, so I'm not really 100% sure like where we're going to go with brick and mortar retail, because I mean that was hurting to begin with.
hmm
Maybe it will come back. It will come back different, more of an experience than just your typical 1980s type of a mall. But I think people are really hungry to get out and do things. Like they're tired of looking at the four corners of their office, and they want to go
oh
out.
yeah, you won't even recognize what retail looks like 5 years from now. I mean, you just won't. I mean, I talked to enough architects and engineers where whether it's supermarkets or hardware stores, they're going to become destination points where basically the front's going to be the showroom and the rest of it's going to be a distribution center. And you'll drive up and pick your stuff up. A lot of the fast food restaurants, I just saw a new prototype for a Burger King where they had lanes on both sides of the building. And, you know, uh, if you're an inline store, how do you get that? And, everybody's trying to figure. So I think it's a very positive thing because it's all construction, it's all renovation, and it's good for our sector. And it's like when hurricanes come in, they're terrible, but that means that everything's got to rebuild. Think about getting it rebuilt, and then hopefully rebuilt better, stronger, more efficient, and someone's got to do that. So our industry, it's one of those things. So the pandemic, in my opinion, just like myself, I had to redo my business. I got cut my print run down. I went more digital. I was more. I kind of took my digital gig for granted, and now I don't even know if I want to go back to where I was.
Right,
Maybe I will. I don't know, but
right,
it's everybody had to. I don't want to use the word pivot because I've heard it a million times, but everybody had to take a good look at themselves and figure out the best way that they were gonna. And then you had to tweak things as some things will work, some things work for other people, some things don't work for
right.
you, and so it's been just interesting.
Well, I mean, we learned how to do online grocery shopping.
Oh yeah.
When they would actually deliver it to your house, which, when we went on vacation, I'll be honest with you, that was like the best thing ever. Like we ordered our groceries, went on vacation, got there late at night. The very next morning, it was delivered to the condo. It was like we saved 4 hours of, from going to the grocery store. So
Oh yeah.
I think there's a lot of things that when an event like this happens, it kind of changes you from your old habits, and now you think of new ways to do things.
Oh yeah.
Um, so there has been a lot of neat things that I probably would have never have done if it wasn't for the lockdown.
Yeah. So if you were gonna, talking about being positive, you're an optimist. If there was one word or thought that you would leave our listeners, for yourself, what would it be?
You know what? I would ask everybody to look for the good in everyone, even if they have a different opinion than you. Just look for the good, because there's probably a reason why they have that opinion. Um,
hmm
so most people aren't bad. Just stay positive. Look for the good.
Yeah. Listen. Everybody's different, but you know what? Inside, everybody's built the same. 98% water, whatever your body is. You got organs, you
Right.
got kidneys, you got liver, you got veins, you got blood. We all bleed the same color. So I'm right there with you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Um, so if someone wanted to get in touch with you and talk about shipping or logistics, how would they get in touch with you?
Uh, Two ways. And the best way, especially if it's a lot of the shipping we get is last minute. Hey, I need an emergency. I need a warehouse. What do you have? Call my cell phone, 216 973 3245. And
Okay.
then the other way would be to send me an email, which is at spuhl, Puhl, at andrewsgtm.com.
Okay. So remember, cell phone best. Texting is the best way, in my opinion, to get in touch with anybody. So there's his cell phone, but then there's his email as well. So we appreciate that. If anyone wants to get in touch with me, you can reach me at davidc@ccr-mag.com. That dash is a little hyphen or a small dash. If you're not a subscriber, up on my toolbar at ccr-mag.com, there's a little button that says subscribe. Hit that. We'll get you added to the circulation file. If you got any cool projects that you got out there, send them to me. We look at everything. You never know what might end up in ink or up on the line or on social media. We look at everything. So, send it to us. Leaving on that thought about everybody, thinking about the good about it. Listen, the election's 43 days away. All right. May the best win. Okay. I just want the elections to get over. Okay. And I'm sick and tired of looking at politicians and all these negative ads and all the stuff. But let's just get the election over. May the best person win, and let's move on and come together. And 2021 could be a great year, as far as I'm concerned. They got the vaccines coming. Hopefully they'll work. The therapeutics will be there. We can kind of get back to our, the swing of things. Maybe have some more people in some stadiums. Maybe have some face-to-face events once again. And, everybody needs to stay positive. And I always say, until then, wash your hands. Don't touch your face. Make sure of your surroundings. You'll be okay. And if you do get COVID, 98% of the people get it, survive. So you'll be okay. Stay positive. So, Steve, pleasure talking to another steel man. It brings back memories. My grandparents have these Super 8 videos of after World War II. They brought back all the tanks and the Jeeps, and they all were piled up in the steel yard, and we cut up all that stuff into steel, and we were, to reuse it. So we were in recycling sustainability way back when, before even people knew what it was. And so
I heard that you invented it, David. So
yeah. Well, my it's called Mayor Pollock Steel. If anybody wants to know, 1888, still there. And, we crushed cars. My cousins, they're fourth generation. They're all still running it. And it's funny. I could have gone in, but I went a separate, but now I'm in construction again. So it's, they laugh at me, I got a construction magazine, but, it's one of those things. But the steel thing that just sparked back memories of, burning the steel thing going down my hands, burning, and the shoveling with the mask. So,
oh yeah.
I still remember the guy. Oh, we don't need any man. There goes this long. So, well, pleasure speaking to you. Good luck to the Buckeyes. And I don't know if you pull for them. You're an Ohio guy. So I'm going to say, hey, listen, the Big Ten, they're playing football. So that's a positive. And, hopefully, like I said, let's get the election over with, move on. Look towards 2021. Let's end this year off on a positive note, and I think we're gonna make it. And appreciate the input. If you want to find this episode, I'm up on Spotify, Google, and Apple. I also stream them up on our website as well as all our social media as well. So all you commercial construction coffee talk listeners out there, I can't do these shows without you. So we really appreciate you chiming in and finding us. Thanks again, Steve. Say goodnight from Northeastern Ohio. Say goodnight.
Hey, good night, everybody.
And I'm going to say goodnight from Atlanta, Georgia. And we'll see you next time on Commercial Construction Coffee Talk. Everybody have a great rest of the week and enjoy the fall season. And remember, don't touch your hands. Wash your hands. Don't touch your face. And vote. We'll see you next time. We'll talk soon. All right, Steve, man. We'll talk to you, man. You're the best.
All right. Thanks, David.
You bet.